Hi guys, today we're going to do the very last new thing in the finance setup for grade 11. We're going to do compound depreciation, and in fact this is the one that we use most of the time. You'll see when we get to the problems, they are good real life problems. So depreciation normally is done on the previous year's value, which is what compound is. Simple depreciation was what we did up to now. That is one rate that you work out the first day or the first time, and it's going to stay the same for all the next years. So the contents of the lesson is what I said now. You can read through this slowly. It's this, the formula is exactly the same as the compound interest formula. It's just now a depreciation. So automatically when it's decay or depreciation, there's a minus in and not a plus anymore. Good. You've seen this slide a few times already. Remember, we just said P is always the beginning amount, A is always the end amount, and the same here, beginning amount, it's just the terminology that is different, and the end value. The I and the N is just the same for both. If it's interest or depreciation, doesn't matter, it's just exactly the same. And in fact, this should actually be compound, because remember, we're busy with compound. Compound, it stays exactly the same. That is why I said you're going to see this a lot of times. It doesn't really matter if it's compound or simple. We're going to see this a lot of times because that's just the terminology you need to remember. Good. Now, we're going to do simple and compound depreciation. That's why I said on the previous slide, it doesn't really matter simple or compound because it stays exactly the same for both of them. Here's just a description of simple depreciation. As I said, it's one constant, the percentage of the original amount, the same value each year. So it's one constant value that you subtract every year. Very simple, but that's not a very practical real life thing we do. Compound depreciation is you work it out on the reduced value of the previous year. So you take previous year's already reduced value, and then you work out the depreciation on that, and that's how you do it. That's why we use the word compound. Good. There are the two formula. You know them now by heart, off by heart, because the one is the simple straight line. They also use straight line for simple. It's all on one line. Simple straight line. Compound is a little bit more complicated. So now the N is hanging in the air. Exponential. So you do know these formulae by now 100%. Good. Let's just see where the formula is coming from. You do not need to know this for exam purposes. This is really just for the interesting sake of it. You can actually work through it yourself. It's really just written out every year, end of every year, and then in the end, it lands up to be this formula. And how you can see it easily, there's the third year, so it's 1 minus I to the power of 3. So if it's the nth year, it's 1 minus I to the power of n. But as I say, this is not for exam purposes, it's just for the interest of it, that you can see where this formula is coming from. It's always good to know where the formula is coming from. It's not something somebody sucks from their thumb. It's really something that happened as they did lots of different steps, and then they got to the formula. Now let's just quickly compare simple and compound interest. Just a simple example. We've got 1,000 Rand, and it depreciates down, decay, depreciate, all with a D. So it goes down every year by 20%. Now, if we work it out on the simple interest, if you take 20% of 800, it is 200 Rand. So every year, look at it, every year, they subtract 200 Rand until after 5 years, it's 0. So every year, they just subtract the same constant amount. You remember it was written on the previous page. But for compound interest, they every year work out the new depreciation on the previous years. So can you see they differ totally? So in the end, you still have a value left if you used compound interest. So it's just also that you can understand. And then automatically, if we now have to draw the graphs of these, graph is very easy to draw. Look at your table here. The year is on the top and the amounts are underneath it. Now, if you think of any table when you draw a graph, the x-axis is on the top, the x, and the y are the values that you worked out, which comes on the y-axis. So if we draw any finance graph, the years will always be at the bottom, and the the amount will always be the Y value. So if you look at this one here, simple interest, straightforward, simple interest, straight line. If you look at this one, compound interest, it forms a curve, which is an exponential graph, which you did in functions. So now it's not as straightforward anymore. It's a little bit more complicated, and it forms a curve if you need to draw it. So just remember that in case they do ask you to draw a graph of any of these, which they don't normally do, but they could. Good. Example 1. The population of a town reduces at a rate of 9.5%. That's the A, due to the migration from the town to the cities. Now, population, if you can recall a previous lesson, we did population and inflation. And we said both of them are worked out on the previous year. The end of the previous year, they used that value, and then they work out the either reducing or increasing, whatever it is. So it's compound. So I'm going to just write the compound interest so that you know which formula to use. The population is currently, what is currently? Now at the present. The population is 185. What will it be in 6 years' time? There's your N. Let's check. 1, 2, 3. The minute I can tick 3 things given, I know there's a 4th thing that is unknown. Even if I don't read the question, what is the only unknown? The A is unknown. Let's just check if it's true. What will the population be in 6 years' time? In the future, at the end? A. Good. So let's just see if I'm going to do it on this page. I'm going to just do it on this page. There's enough space. So let me just do it here. A is equal to P, 1 plus I. Oh, that doesn't look like a plus. Why? 1 plus I to the power of N. Is that right? Look carefully. You know what? I didn't underline or circle anything if it was increasing or decreasing. So let's just read again, because I didn't read the word increase or decrease. The population of a town reduces. What does reduce mean? It becomes less and less. So what should we have done? We should have used the minus formula. 1 minus I. Can you see how easily a mistake is being made? If you don't read every single word, and I know we tend to just look for the 3 things ticked off, and the 4th thing is the question, and then we seem to forget about the rest. You really need to, as you read the sum, you must always remember I need to pick the right formula, and in order to do that, I need to know simple or compound, because that is going to tell me, and I need to know if it's going to increase or decrease. That is going to tell me which formula to use. So let's just start filling in. This is 185,000. 1 minus the interest rate, be careful, 9.5. If I move my comma 2 spaces, it becomes 0,095. Most students are going to write 0.95. Please be careful, because then your whole problem is going to be wrong. To the power of N was, what was N? 6 years. And all you do now, you grab your calculator and you click it. 185,000, bracket, 1 minus 0.95, close your bracket, to the power of, remember that little button with the X with a block on top, 6 years equals, and you get a funny fraction, but you're going to, oh my gosh, did I make a mistake? Let me just see what the... No, I didn't make a mistake, because remember, we need to reduce. So if I look at my reducing, let me just see what I printed in incorrectly. Somewhere, oh, you know what I printed in? Exactly what I told you just now. I'm checking, luckily we've got these clever calculators. I printed in 0,95. What should it be? So I'm going to go back with my cursor. It should be 0,095. You see how I know I made a mistake. I got a 0, a funny 0, answer. The population in the end can't be 0, something. So if I do it correctly, I have 101,639,66. Now remember, we're not working with rand and cents here. What did they ask? What will the population be in 6 years' time? Let's just see if it makes sense. We started off with 185,000 if I round it off roughly. We end up with 101,000. That's much less than 185,000. So it seems that I've done it correctly. There is a minus, but you see how easily you can pick up a mistake. I just clicked one thing incorrectly on my calculator and I saw a totally funny answer, which is not practically possible. That's why you can always recheck yourself and make very sure that you've done it correctly. Good, but I'm going to rub this out because you have got the answer on the next page. I want you to redo this all on a clean sheet of paper without looking at the answer. There is the proper answer. Can you see this sign here? Let me just get my pen back. We did it previously. That means it's not exactly to 101640, but it's people. I can't leave people as comma 66. So I didn't write my final answer on the previous page. You need to now write down that the population will be 101,640 because it's people. Now you have to round up or down, but because it's a 6, you rounded it up, so 640 in the end. And that's why we make that little squiggly equal sign to show it is actually a rounded up number. Easy. That's all you need to be able to do. There's an exercise for you that you can practice on with the answers, and then we've got the reference at the end, and I'm sure you're going to be 100% fine with finance. See you next lesson.